This is 40K Today. This is to podcasting what the Leviathan was to Brohammer at the LVO. We're just waiting to be nerfed. Hiya, folks, and welcome to 40K Today. Thanks for joining us on the show. This is your 15-minute daily news, views, and interviews show that covers the whole hobby of Warhammer 40,000. We do it in 15 minutes. We get competitive on the tabletop. We paint, we kit bash with the best in the business. We find hobby tips, and we meet the most amazing people in our all-round awesome Warhammer 40,000 community, and it is a great community. Today is Monday, the 18th of May, and today on the show, well, we meet a genuine Warhammer hero. And I know that we've met a few over the past few weeks, but this guy is certified and legit in the eyes of the people at Warhammer HQ. And also today, Archon Skari launches a brand new feature in which he reads 40K fan fiction on air. If you want your story read by Skari on 40K Today, stick around for details. First up, though, we have a poll question live on our Facebook page, so let's kick things off with that. Our 40K Today poll question for the week, which is live right now on our Facebook, is this. Are you a superstitious player? That is to say, do you have lucky dice, for example? Now, at the moment, it's pretty even, with slightly more people saying they're not superstitious, which is a surprise to me. Honestly, everybody I've ever played at this game has some sort of superstition or ritual, or they have lucky dice, or they throw away dice that are unlucky, or they have, you've heard of new model syndrome. All of these things are superstitions. So I'll be honest, I have lucky socks. They don't make me any better at the game. They don't increase my win rate. They're not even that lucky. But I wear them for tournament play, I guess, because I like them, because I hope they'll bring me something. Head to our Facebook and let us know your superstition if you have one. A couple of things worth noting from the weekend before we get into the show proper as well. Our friends at Goonhammer have given us plenty to get our teeth into over the past few days, including Robert Jones writing about Space Wolves tactics. Now, it's no accident that Goonhammer's popularity has soared over the past 6 to 12 months. The quality of the writing is through the roof, and this is no exception. So it's a thorough but not exhausting review of Space Wolf tactics post-Psychic Awakening. The good, the bad, the great, it's all in this very cool article. We'll include a link in our show notes. And while we're at Goonhammer, the details on their annual painting competition have just been released. We assume, if you're listening to this, that you play and paint 40K models, in which case you'll be entering the sci-fi category. Again, the link to the information is in our show notes. Good luck with that if you enter. We love highlighting Warhammer heroes on this program, and we've met some great ones. People who champion the game in their local area, or who organize tournaments or create content, all for the love of the game. This time round, we meet a man who has his name on the wall of heroes at Warhammer Fest. So a legit Warhammer hero. He's a husband and father and hobbyist and blogger, and he even helps run a school club. John Damaris caught up with our hero, Andrew Dart.
Hello, Andrew. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. And let's just talk about this thing. You're a legitimate Warhammer hero, which I think is really, really, really cool. So, like, we run a segment on the show that we call Warhammer Heroes, but you're actually dubbed by Games Workshop as a legitimate Warhammer
I'm a
hero.
literal hero. That's right.
With your a plaque on the wall, right, and everything,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, big
Well, that's
medal,
really,
big ceremony.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So some of our listeners might not even know that GW has this Warhammer Hero program. You want to talk a little bit about what it is, and then we'll get into like how you got there.
Yeah. I think it started in 2018, 2 years ago, and they essentially opened up to the whole world this casting call, effectively, and people can send in nominations for someone they feel is a proponent of the hobby or someone that has an impact on the hobby in some positive way. And the Games Workshop would collect all of these nominations, and they'd sift through them, which I'm sure there were thousands of them. And they would pick the best, 10, 15, 20, and get back to those people, tell them they've been nominated, tell them that they won if they met the process, the criteria. And there'd be a big ceremony, like a banquet kind of ceremony. They'd fly you up and give you a big medal and a handshake and a fancy dinner.
That's fantastic. That is so cool. So one of the things I'm going to ask you for is if you have some pictures from that by chance, and we'll definitely link those on our social and link back to, because I know you do Hobby Vices and some pretty cool things.
Sure.
So if you were to guess, now I know that they don't actually tell you what you're nominated for, but if you were to guess, what would you think that you were not? What was the reason why you were nominated? What are the things that you're doing?
So the biggest thing that I do, probably that people notice, is the Ho Ho Hobby Vices event. I've been doing it for 4 years so far, and what it is I will collect people that they send me their names, they send me their addresses, all their personal information, I guess, which I keep secure. And what I do is I put it in a spreadsheet, and I essentially hit the big red button, and it randomizes it, and people get blind paired with somebody else. And so it's a secret Santa swap, and you don't know who's sending you your gift because you are not sending that person a gift. It's totally 100% blind in that sense. And it's really fun to see it play out on social media. People tag it, and you can look it up and see all their gifts. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, and then you're connecting people from all over the world, right? With this really neat, very personal thing, because painting a model is kind of a personal thing for somebody to share like that. So that's really cool. Really cool.
Yeah.
So, well, that's awesome. So you're a legitimate Warhammer hero. You do this. Do you do other things in the community? Like I heard that you do some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I run a school Warhammer club for my students, and we meet every lunch hour, and we play some games, and just be a bunch of teenagers rolling dice, and it's pretty fun. I also have a fairly large Discord server, which is free to anybody to join. We just talk shop and critique each other's hobby stuff and give tips and tricks and advice, and it's just a overall welcoming place to be a part of.
Yeah, so we'll definitely link that as well. So I mean, not that I want to put you on the spot or anything, but you truly are an ambassador for the game, right? Like
yeah.
you're affecting kids. You're connecting people from across the world. It's not hard to imagine why GW would have chosen you as a Warhammer hero. And you guys can't see this, but I can. He's blushing over here. Poor Andrew.
I'm very modest. I joke a lot about being a hero. I'll say I wear my medal all the time, but it's never about me. It's always about the kids and the people in the hobby, the community, that we just have to be welcoming and just open to all the people that want to be a part of it. Because whether you're a hardcore tournament player or a casual kind of fluffy player, you just paint models, you collect, we're all in the same hobby regardless. And we just have to be accommodating of each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that could have been said any better. And I mean, the cool thing about the hobby is it covers a whole range of people, young to old, and even now we're seeing more and more women. So we're crossing that gender barrier where we didn't see that as much before. And then we see, like you said, super good hobbyists and people that are playing with just gray models because they enjoy the game or the lore, people that engage it with books or the video games, and soon we're going to have a show on TV. Like it's just growing like gangbusters. And I just want to take a moment and just thank you for your contribution, right? Because it's a big deal. Like it is, when you are getting kids involved and you're getting people involved with each other, like, and let's be honest, you're not doing that for your benefit, right? Like it might make you feel good. You get the feel goods for it. That's cool. But that's a lot of work to take on just to make the community better. And so I think, sir, that's why you're a Warhammer hero.
Well, thank you.
All right. Thanks again.
That's our own John Damaris speaking with Andrew Dart. Learn more about Andrew and follow his adventures in the hobby via his blog. It's called Hobby Vices. You can find them at hobbyvices.org or Hobby Vices on all different social media platforms, and we'll make sure the link to that is in the show notes as well. Next up on the program, one of our most prolific content creators in the game. He's a top player. He's a coach. Archon Skari joins us to launch a brand new feature in which he reads your fan fiction on our show.
Today's episode of 40K Today is brought to you by Frontline Gaming. Frontline Gaming is a one-stop shop for all your Warhammer hobby needs, discounted products, American-made gaming mats and terrain, and a full line of miniatures painting service and daily hobby content. And this can all be found at frontlinegaming.org.
Welcome back. At 40K today, we're all about ideas and trying new things. And a friend of ours, someone you've probably heard of, Archon Skari, a top player and a top coach, came to us with a fun idea. How about, he said, we get listeners to write short stories and then he can read them on air? And we said yes, because how cool does that sound? And so it was a dark and stormy night when John Damaris asked Skari to read his first story for us, one of his very own creation.
All right, 40K Today family, we have a really new segment we're going to be trying out, and we'd love to get your feedback on this. So I was talking to my good friend Archon Skari, or Ridvan, depending on how you know him, I guess, and he thought it would be really cool to read some fan fiction on the show to kind of get the creative juices flowing, and even take it a step further if people like the segment to submit their own to be read on the show. So where did you get the idea for this, Skari? Where did that come from?
Well, I did actually, it was really funny. I was talking with the War Mistress, who's your social media guru. And
she's fantastic. Yeah.
She's been frequenting my daily hobby stream, which we do on Twitch. And one of the things that I did, because we're in isolation and, we've had to fill a lot of airtime with just different activities, is I sat down and I did a reading of a chapter of a Black Library novel, which was actually really fun. And folks really seemed to enjoy just me reading a story. So I thought, hey, why not? It'd be cool. Couple of minutes. If you have a story that you'd like me to read on air here on 40K Today, you could submit it to the 40K Today team. And then we would select, I don't know, one a week or one a month or whatever it decides to be. And then sort of read your story on air, which I think would be really cool.
That's awesome. Okay, so we have one for today, right? Just as sort of a taste of what's going to happen. Why don't you go ahead, take a deep breath, center yourself, and knock it out. I'm sorry.
Get in the zone. So I will transport you to the depths of the Dark City. This is a little story I wrote called The Soothsayer. Footsteps echoed across the dark and dusty hall. The only light came from a flickering green. Let me try that again. Footsteps echoed across the dark and dusty hall. The only light came from a flickering green flame that hung from the wall. The flame seemed to dance to the rhythm of the armored boots on the cold floor. The cloaked figure came up to a large, old door made of skin and bone. The door opened, creaking under its own weight. The threshold led into a large, circular chamber. There was a cheerful humming emanating from the darkness. The armor-clad Archon took a step into the shadow. The humming stopped. A voice boomed all around the newly arrived figure. "Vect, what brings you here?" The Archon's body tensed as the voice spoke again. It seemed to come from all around. "Don't be shy, O Lord. O Dark Muse, please be seated." At that moment, a green flame flickered to life on the chamber wall. The dim light revealed the room to be a homunculus laboratory with stone and metallic slabs placed at different locations. Perched in a corner cage, a razorwing seemed to follow Vect with its red eyes. The Supreme Lord of the Dark City moved to the middle of the room and sat on a simple bench made from the femurs of species from all over real space. He had come to see the Soothsayer. Even after all these centuries, the old Archon felt uneasy in this chamber. Since the fall of Shaddam, the warmth and its terrors were all but extinguished from the Dark City. The Soothsayer dabbled in forbidden arts, and Vect had only allowed the creature to remain alive as it was useful. Vect regretted this at times. This abomination's death would be pleasing to him. However, times were changing, and the Muse required counsel. He would receive it at great cost. The Archon spoke. "I require divination." The shaman interrupted. "We are aware "What is your price?" said Vect. The creature snickered. "I have seen your fall. I can smell it. Your demise is near." Vect continued with no sign of emotion. "What is your price?" The soothsayer grimaced, yellow, decaying teeth shining in the dim light. "Souls. More souls." And that is that, folks.
That was fantastic. I have goosebumps.
Well, I'm glad you
Excellent.
liked it, John.
Excellent work. Your voice acting is on point. Well, thank you for sharing that. And then listeners, if you like that segment, give us a shout out. Let us know what you'd like to hear next.
That's Archon Skari. Now, we'd love you to touch base either with him or with us. If you have a short story that he could read on air, that'd be cool. I mean, how great was that? We've included a link to Skari's Patreon in our show notes, or you can touch base with us via Facebook, either way. And while we're on the subject of fan fiction, I wanted to let you know this Cold Open Stories. I'm a big fan of their work. They publish 40K fan fiction and they create audio dramas, which are amazing. And they've just published a great collection of what they call fast fiction, a whole lot of really short stories. So check them out at coldopenstories.com for that collection and plenty more. Okay, folks, it is time for our model of the day.
It's the model of the day, the model of the day, the model of the day.
So our first model of the day for this week is Alan Lawson's Tyrannid Heirophant. Thanks, Alan, for sending us your pictures of your model. This sucker is massive. Oh, my God. The largest Tyrannid model, and officially it's a Bio-Titan. Alan must be a sucker for punishment too, because he's painted it in yellow. I mean, this thing is huge. It looks amazing. Did I mention it's enormous? You can check it out on Alan's Instagram, which we will link to in our show notes. Or if you're watching this via our YouTube, well, you're already looking at the model as I speak, so there it is. Alan, thank you very much. Listen, if you've got a model that you want to nominate as a model of the day, just let us know via Facebook, Instagram, or wherever you can find us, 40ktoday.com, wherever it happens to be. We'd love to hear from you. And that's it for today. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to enter our mega 40K giveaway, $5,000 worth of prizes from a host of amazing sponsors, including the Army Painter, Big Bear 3D, and Frontline Gaming. All the details are at 40kprizes.com. If you enter the keyword Daily40K, that's the code, Daily40K, you get even more entries in the draw. A big thank you to our content producer, Alex Painter, our technical producer, Seamus Ronan, and our social media expert, Tanya Gates, for all their hard work again in putting the program together. If you have anything you think we should feature on the show, get in touch. We'd love to hear from you, as always. And join us tomorrow when we go into the hobby room and get some great tips on weathering. Lots of people ask about weathering. Well, Joanna from Olaf Miniatures in Poland is an expert at it, and she's going to talk us through some tips. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, for the whole 40K Today team, I'm Steve Joel, and that's what's happening in 40K Today.